My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey folks, welcome back. Today our special guest zooming in from California, Jared Jones, does something different. You've probably heard of infill developments, but have you heard of micro-infill developments? Well, if you haven't, stay tuned because that's what we're going to be talking about. That is what Jared focuses on. That's what he specializes in. That's how he's able to create profitable properties in a very expensive state in California. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So Jared, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So Jared, give us a little snapshot of what the heck is this whole micro-infill thing? I think you call it middle housing. So maybe kind of explain for the rest of us, what does that actually mean?
Perfect. Yeah. So micro development is the thought process of leveraging small lots for 2 to 10 unit developments. And so the bulk of what we're doing is adding 3 to 10 units to specific infill properties. And so the house can be existing and we just add additional. And so in the middle housing is that concept of building for the workforce. It's not quite a large single family, but it tends to, right now you hear a lot about the missing middle. So it hasn't really been built for the last 30 years in our market. But really it's the housing, whether it's ADUs or duplexes or triplexes or condos or townhomes, it's that starter home process or thought process that's been ignored for a while.
Okay, very cool. So you're based in Riverside, which is very close to Los Angeles. That's probably one of the most expensive markets in North America.
Yeah.
For sure. So maybe walk me through an example of a project that you've recently completed. Kind of tell us the story of what that looked like originally, what you guys did, and what the end product was.
Yeah. So, and to your comment, right now, like the Inland Empire, which is where Riverside sits, it's like 30 miles inland from the coast, is the 5th most expensive rental market in the nation. Wow. And above that are San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Jose.
Holy
metros. So the top 5, and then Sacramento is number 9. Wow. And so it's a little wild, and it's an expensive place to be. But the real reason that it is expensive is because of the constraints on builders. So that being said, a recent project that we have is we bought this 780 square foot single family residence on a half-acre lot.
And big lot, pretty big lot.
Yeah, big lot. And so what we were able to do is go out and build 3 additional units on that property.
So you kept the original house on there?
Kept the original house.
Did you have to, or did you want to?
With the laws that we use, we had to. And so we built 2 1,200 square foot houses. And then the existing house became an ADU, an accessory to those new main houses. And then we also built the 4th unit is an ADU. And so what we did,
ADU, for folks that aren't familiar with the term.
Yeah, it's accessory dwelling unit, which basically it's an accessory to the house. So you can't build one of those unless you have a house already.
Yeah, granny suite type thing.
Yeah. And the difference between like a granny flat and an ADU, though, is ADU is separately rentable.
Yeah, it's a complete.
Yeah, so it's its own. Basically, it's just a duplex detached or even attached. But that thought process, though, is essentially what we end up doing. And one of the interesting things about that project, though, is our laws have been getting more and more aggressive. And we knew that it was very likely that there was a bill in process that was going to pass. So we left about 6,000 square feet of the lot empty. In the meantime, the law passed, and now on the back 6,000 square feet, we're able to add 6 more units.
Wow.
And so, yeah.
What about parking for this?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the law doesn't require you to have parking on site most of the time. However, we always park on site. And so for the bulk of our units where we're doing more than a few, we are creating parking underneath the units. And so we'll go 2 or 3 stories depending on the project and have garage at the bottom.
Okay, that makes sense. So I lost track of the numbers.
Yeah.
When the smoke clears, you've taken this little tiny house on a big lot, half-acre lot, and you've turned that into how many units total?
Well, we have 4 there now, but we're going to add 6 more. And so it'll be 10 units. And the valuation on that by the time we're done will be somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 million and like 4.5. And our cost into it will be about 2.2, somewhere in that range.
Nice. So that brings up my next question. For you yourself, are you doing build to sell? Are you doing build to rent? What's your exit strategy?
So for the most part, we do build to rent, but with a plan on a future exit within the next 10 years. So some of our projects that we're doing, we will sell within the next couple years, and some it'll be 7, 8, 9 years before we start trading them.
So this example that you just gave me, did you say that you're going to be all in for 2.6 approximately?
It's going to be around 2.2 to 2.4, depending on some of the things that we do with the back 6 units. But yeah, it'll create about $1.5 million to $2.2 million, depending on how aggressively we value it.
Instant equity, so to speak, there, right? Yeah. Built up. Okay, that's very appealing. What does it look like from a cash flow perspective, seeing that you're doing these for build to rent? I understand the equity play there, but are they going to be cash flow positive?
Yeah. So basically, we will end up in a position on that project where our rents will be around $35,000 a month, somewhere in that range. And so the debt service on a couple million, 2 point some odd million dollars is good. We'll be in great shape to cash flow that. And so our goal with what we do is always to get all of our cash back. And we achieve that probably 80% of the time. Yeah. And so it's the Burr method for those that are familiar with that, but just on steroids. And so, that's what we try to do.
That is very, very cool, Jared. So you've been doing this for quite a number of years now. Approximately how many of these kind of properties have you done?
We've done just over 600 doors of this kind of product type. Yeah. In different variations, like we started out with garage conversions, ADU garage conversions, and it's morphed into a lot more of the 10-unit development, townhome kind of properties.
Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. So, no, that makes a ton of sense. Sounds like a lot of fun, dude. Like just seeing this kind of transform. It sounds like there are a lot of benefits to it, but I know the reality behind the scene is it can also be, I'm sure, a horrendous pain in the neck to get these things through bureaucracy and red tape and everything like that. So what's the not so fun side of doing these micro infills?
I think if you're coming from the top down, if you're already a developer used to entitling lots and that kind of stuff, like this all seems like magic and amazing because it ignores zoning rules. They're now statewide zoning rules and it compresses timelines. Yeah. But when you're coming from our side where we were just real estate investors going up, and so we're moving into this world, like we're very impatient with all of it. And we think we're like, hey, this is taking like 6 months. What's going on here? Why are we taking so long? And they're like, so it's like this different view of the world that we have coming from that position. But I would say that that's the frustrating part is like dealing with cities as they go through the learning curve on the models that we use, because we only do things that are ministerially approved, which essentially means like there's no planning commission, there's mandated features to all of the zoning across the entire state. And so it's kind of like from a city's perspective, like Big Brother is coming and enforcing their hand.
Right. So sometimes resentful about that, I would imagine.
Maybe a little bit. And so, but the good thing is when we go and buy a lot, we know that we can do what we want to do. We just don't always know how long it's going to take to fight with the city.
Yeah. So the approvals will come. You just don't know what the time frame is going to be exactly.
Yeah. And there are mandated timelines, but it's really just mandated to give you corrections. And so you can get 4 rounds of corrections from a completely obstinate entity. And so, but in general, like we're still delivering product on the long side in a couple years that would have taken 4 years or 5 years otherwise. But on the short side, like this property that I was telling you about, we were able to use pre-approved plan sets on that. And we submitted and got our plans approved within 5 weeks on that one.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Wow. And that's like engineered, like that's the whole process. That's not
that's like unheard of.
It's wild. And so
especially in California, I would imagine.
Yeah, we see the opportunity for it to get there and remove a lot of that friction and frustration. But ultimately, that's where it needs to go to be able to build this kind of housing in California. Yeah. Really, the red tape has to be removed.
Yeah, they're going to be kicking and screaming, but it does have to change, that's for sure. So, Jared, how many of these projects are you able to work on at any one time?
Well, if you ask my design team, less than we have.
I'm asking the boss. That's who.
No, I think we have just over 600 doors that are in process right now.
My goodness!
Wow. And so in some of those doors we're moving a lot faster on than others, like just depending on what city we're in. But our design team. So when we got started in this, we were using vendors for everything. Yeah. Now we're vertically integrated. Okay. And so our design team's 22 people right now. And
how about the construction team?
Yeah. So we're running at any given time, like 18 jobs. But that's very expandable. Yeah. Like once you start getting into pretty decent volume, a lot of the subs that you couldn't really work with before will start to work with you because you can provide them work all the time. Yeah. And so that piece is not the big restriction. It's just getting through the process, that ends up being that problem. But we're at least now systematized to a way where we bring on more capital, because the bulk of what we do is joint ventures and private equity. Okay. And so when we bring more capital in the door, we can just hire more people to the system. Whereas,
so when you say joint ventures and private equity, what does that mean? Does that mean you partner with existing developers and help them with their deals? What does that look like on this?
A little bit. It's more like family office or high net worth individuals that just want to employ capital.
Okay, so they'll come up with the cash needed to do one whole project, kind of.
Right. Or lots of times, like they'll have big 1031s, and you don't really want to buy a crappy deal just because you need to exchange money. So, like we'll do stuff like that with them, or we have a private equity fund that people invest in, and when we get capital into that fund, that's when, if we need to, we can go out and hire more people. But we just closed this last week on a 42 unit, 10 unit, and a 24 unit project for that fund. And so, I mean, it ends up being a decent amount of doors that we have to go through and get permitted.
Yeah.
So we'll probably end up hiring a couple more people for that workload.
So at this point, you've got a lot of things going on at any one time. You've got like 18 active projects that are getting built, 18 to 20. You got another 30 or 40 kind of in the permitting and planning phases and all that kind of stuff, if my numbers are right. Yep. Then you're raising capital, then you're overseeing all of this stuff. What are your primary roles in the business these days, Chair?
So my goal is to sell vision. So I talk to our capital providers and partners and explain to them the cool things that are going on with the opportunity, how deep the need is, and how long this continues. And then just talk through with the team the best fit for the product. So each of our verticals, I have different business partners on. And so my job is mainly like the 30,000 foot view. And sometimes they think it's like the, 5 mile view or something like that.
Well, as long as they don't think it's, you got to be picking up a hammer and swinging view.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Yeah. Our product would not look good if I did that. That's for sure. But yeah, so it's really mainly that, like the broad context and building relationships and so on.
Well, we were talking a little bit off camera, and you mentioned that you're starting a community of other developers in California as well around this whole micro-infill idea. Tell me a little bit about that, if you would.
Yeah. So, what we realized as we started getting into this, the need is, we need 3.5 million units in California. So, I mean, it's a pretty wild context. And so we soon realized that the constraint on this was its difficulty. Well, and we've fallen in a ton of pits in our first 600 some odd units. Yeah. And we figured if we created a course and content, but then we have this community as well where we answer people's questions, help them underwrite their deals, figure out their funding, those kinds of things, so that when our buddies call us and want advice, we're like, hey, like, happy to tell you this thing, but like, if you're going to get into these projects, like, you should be a part of our community and talk to other people that are doing this, and then we'll answer your questions. But if I took questions from all my friends that are wanting to get into the space, I couldn't run the business.
Run the business. Yeah. Exactly.
So we once a month, we have an hour that we go over this stuff. And then during the month, we'll drop new content for them and or help them underwrite their deals at our app and stuff. So
very, very cool. Yeah. Well, hey, congratulations, Jared. It sounds like you started off like a lot of folks with, I don't know if you're doing flips or renos or is that what your primary focus was?
Yeah.
And then you've taken that
and flipping.
Just taken that and put it on steroids, and congratulations to you. You found a very unique niche.
Yeah.
Niche.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm Canadian.
That's fine.
So, so hats off to you for that. So I'm sure there's going to be some folks watching or listening to this who'd like to find out more. Where should they go, Jared?
Middle Housing Partners on Instagram. That's the easiest place to find us.
Very good. Hey, Jared, Thanks very much for being on the show and keep up the good work.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, everybody, take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.